You can hear that. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Principal Chiro broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers. I'm Dr. Brian Moriarty, your esteemed MC for tonight's exciting call with Joshua Carmack coming up here in a minute. But guys, guess what? It's that special week of the year. It's Masters Week. No, that's over. It's DE Week. It is time for Dynamic Essentials. Just two long days away from our exciting spring Dynamic Essentials meeting, April 16th to the 19th at the Sheraton Sand Key Beach Resort, Clearwater Beach, Florida, right on the Gulf of Mexico. You can still register if you're interested. You can still grab a room, although the room block is full. If you need a room, contact Kat to get on a wait list or find some other housing. But we'd still love to have you in beautiful, sunny Clearwater. That forecast is looking really good. It's looking like 81, 82 and sunny all weekend. You can put your toes in the sand, hit up the beach, the pool, beach volleyball, and listen to some incredible speakers inspire you the only way Dynamic Essentials does it. So we've got that conference there. Also, some upcoming dates for you guys. Summer 2026 in July. We're back at the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center, Dunwoody, Georgia. And then we're back in October 22 to the 25th again in Atlanta. Go to lifede.com to register for this weekend's event or any upcoming events. We also have our Connect groups. So if you're not on a team yet, get on a team or talk to us and we'll get you on one. Purple, orange, blue, or yellow. The teams will be meeting in person at Dynamic Essentials. If it's your first time coming, we'll get you a sticker and we'll get you on one of the teams so you can connect with some people outside of DE and keep in touch that way. So I'm super excited here because it's Dynamic Essentials Week. It's always that exciting week that where you're ready to get plugged in, and we're here. We're less than 48 hours away here from Dr. Steve Judson taking the stage, Dr. Dee Umber, and it's so I'm getting a little jittery. I'm getting excited. I hope you're coming to DE. If you're not, hopefully you'll be at the next one or at least watching on Zoom. But there's nothing like being there in person, and that's where all the magic happens. And hopefully you'll be there with us, and it's going to be an incredible time. We're in fellowship. This is always a special one because, we're in sunny Florida on the beach, so it's going to be a nice, relaxed Dynamic Essentials. But we are going to do some work and shed some husks and become completely different versions of ourselves when we lead. So I'm excited to see you there. I'll be there with my whole family, so get ready. My kids will be taking over that Kids D, although I don't think we're having it this time. Anyway, they'll be at the pool. But anyway, let's get to our exciting speaker tonight, longtime DE attendee. I've known this guy probably about a decade or so, run into him at different international chiropractic events. And he's just an absolute rock star powerhouse, incredible servant of the principal. He is a 2002 graduate of Life University. And one thing about Josh is, outside of being an exact body double of myself, people that know Josh are probably laughing right now, but and know me for sure. But Josh is, he's like this American Ninja Warrior guy. So he's like the American Ninja chiropractor. But I tell you, he's an incredible servant, great family. Love these guys, and I'm excited to see him in just a couple of days. He will be at our spring DE. So from Pleasant View, Tennessee, let's all give it up for Dr. Josh Carmack. Josh, love and appreciate you, brother. Take it away.
Thanks, Brian. Um, as you said, my name is Josh Carmack. I'm a 2002 graduate of Life University, and I'm up in Pleasant View, Tennessee, just a little bit north of Nashville. And I've been practicing up here for about 22 years since I've been out of school. I've got my wife Heidi and 5 kids, and we homeschool, and they all play sports. And it's super busy, so it's really hard to make it to DE. And actually, this DE will be the first DE that I've been to by myself. So normally there's a lot of other stuff going on, but I'm going to have some laser focus this weekend. And I think that there's a lot that I can learn and a lot that I'm going to reach out to other DE chiropractors about. But I'm always honored when I'm asked to do something with DE. And when Andy, asked me at last DE if I would speak for the Band of Brothers call, I said sure. I didn't realize it was actually the DE week, because this one's always an extra special one, especially since it's going to be in Florida. It's even extra special. But I'm honored to do this. And anybody that knows me, public speaking is not my favorite thing. But if I'm asked to do something for chiropractic and for DE, then I'm always going to step up and do the best that I can do. Um, I've been going to DE since around 2012, I believe. I try to make it there as much as I can. I pretty much average about once a year. And I just want you all to know that there are a lot of people involved in DE that are constantly doing things that you guys have no idea about. I mean, I don't know what all it takes to keep DE running, but it's 4 times a year, different locations, setting up speakers. All the drama that goes on behind the scenes with trying to get that stuff done. And a lot of these guys are traveling around the world, around the country, speaking at other places, but they're also involved politically. And they probably don't get nearly enough thanks for all the things that they do. And I can promise you that our profession would not be where it is. It would be in bad shape if it were not for these guys putting in the work. And as a state representative for the ICA for a few years, I was able to see some of the behind the scenes stuff and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into keeping organizations going and keeping chiropractic principled. Um, so anyway, after Andy asked me to speak, I came up with some ideas about some things I wanted to talk about, and I turned a lot of things through in my mind, but I kind of changed everything yesterday, and I think that was meant to be. But I had a new person come into my office yesterday, and I went out to get her from the waiting area, and she stands up and she has a shirt on, and it's got a Halloween thing, and it says subluxations are spooky, and at the bottom it says Lieberman Chiropractic. And I looked at her and I said, "Where did you get that shirt?" And she said, "I got it in Rome. I've lived in Rome for a long time, and Brian Lieberman has been my chiropractor down there." Well, I thought he had sent her here, but she got here another way, and just so happened, I know him, and we had a great conversation. But the reason that I changed what I was going to speak about was after talking to her when she came in, I immediately knew that she had already gotten the story of chiropractic. She had gotten real principled chiropractic. And I'm going to kind of break down what I believe that to be in just a few minutes. But there's something really refreshing when somebody walks into your office and they've had chiropractic thoroughly explained to them. They totally get it. They've been adjusted, and you know that they've gotten great chiropractic care, and they've gotten their entire family under care. She says that her kids and grandkids still go there. She just happened to move up here, so she needed a new chiropractor. But I know that she's coming in and she's had an excellent experience. And she just went on and on about how much she loved Dr. Brian and loved the office, and told me all about all the things that have been going on there over the years. And I really started thinking about it. And I thought, Brian has been successful because he has followed a protocol. And I think that protocol needs to be discussed. I don't know exactly what his protocol is, but the protocol in general that I know that he has applied, and the way that I kind of see that. But anyway, so it's always great to have other DE office, chiropractic patients, if you want to call them patients, end up in your office because they know what they're going to get. They know chiropractic, and they probably know it better than a lot of the chiropractors out there. Um, as far as DE goes, DE has always been a special thing to me because from the first time that I went there, I realized these are people that have a vision and a mindset and a principle of service. Um, exactly what I've always felt, but I didn't really know how to put it into words. Let me turn this microphone off here. And when I went there and heard the story, heard the message, I'm like, this is the group that I need to be with. This is where I need to be. This is my family. And over time, getting to know everybody at DE. I can tell you that I've had some rough times. A couple years ago, we had a fire upstairs, and our office got flooded, and we had like $500,000 in damage. And um, you know who the first people to contact me were? It was the DE family. They were the ones that reached out to me, and I've seen over the years that when you're having tough times, they're there to lift you up. And when you're having great times, they're there to celebrate your victories and to push you to do more. And when you get out of line, they're there to give you that left hook of love and check you and get you back on course. And there's just not a lot of that in chiropractic. There's a lot of people out there and groups out there, and they want your money and they want your business, but they're not there to serve you, help you, lift you up, or be family. So anyway, I say all that to say, DE is my home, even though I'm not there all the time. I consider everybody there to be family. I'm a little bit of an introvert, so when I'm there and I'm kind of sitting in the back and not mingling with everybody, just I'm not being rude. You guys can come up and talk to me. But I love to be there. It's my favorite place to be. But make sure that you thank all of the people at DE for all of the service that they've done and all the work that they've put in for all these years to keep DE going, to be involved in organizations, to fight for legislation to promote and protect what chiropractic really is, and sometimes to make those hard decisions to pull away from things that are not going in the right direction. It's not easy to do that, but the people at DE have really led the way on that. So anyway, I talked about this the very first DE I ever spoke at. I talked about these 4 points that Dr. Joe Stuckey and my father-in-law John Bruns up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. They kind of followed this protocol for success in chiropractic, and I really think that chiropractic success is way easier than everybody wants you to believe. Everybody wants to sell you a plan and a program and try to get you doing all this stuff to be successful. But I really think it comes down to 4 things. And Joe Stuckey always said, you've got to tell the story, you've got to charge a reasonable fee, you've got to deliver the goods, and you've got to let innate work. And you can break all those down as much as you want. I did that in my first talk a long time ago. Charge whatever you want. Charge the fee that you feel like is fair, not more than you think it should be, not less than you think it should be. But delivering the goods, everybody needs to work on being a master of chiropractic, master of the art, don't just be a mediocre practitioner. Letting innate work, I think that sometimes when you understand the philosophy, it's a lot easier to just let innate work, even when people are having struggles, with whatever they're dealing with, the reason that they're in your office. But just stepping back and saying, we're doing what we need to do, let your body do its thing. But the first point, to tell the story, I think that that's the most important thing that you can do to build success in your office. I think everything else comes after that. You can be, a great adjuster and you can have great business skills and all of that stuff. But if you're not teaching people what chiropractic is really about, then you're really missing out on lifetime care for these people. You're robbing them of that information, and I think it's imperative that we really teach people that. Um, so when I talk about telling the story to people, you can get super obnoxious and overwhelming with explaining everything to people. And I've done it in the past. And, I've gone through the report of findings where we explain innate intelligence and subluxation and universal intelligence. And I try to put it in terms where people understand. Um, and you can do it however you want. But I think when you have a very thorough grasp of the philosophy of chiropractic and what principle chiropractic is, it becomes much more simple to communicate and you can get that point across in a whole lot less time. Dr. Lieberman's lady that came in, I asked her what was going on, what brought her in, and she said, "Well, I just need to be adjusted. I've been adjusted for a long time. I know something's going on up here, and I've got parts of my body that are not talking to other parts because I need to be adjusted." And I'm like, "Man, that's a very simple explanation of that, and it makes sense that things are not talking because I need to be adjusted, so my body's not working the way that it should be." You can keep it as simple as that, but I was talking to Neil Cohen yesterday, just briefly, and I heard him speak. I don't remember when it was, but I heard him speak at one point, and he broke it down. And he talked about the promise of chiropractic and the potential of chiropractic. And I was texting with him yesterday, and I said, or earlier today, and I said, I said, I think every chiropractor and I think every person who's under chiropractic care should understand the differential between the promise of chiropractic and the potential of chiropractic. So, you know, after I heard him say that years ago, I really incorporated that into my initial education when I'm telling the chiropractic story and wanting people to understand it. And to me, the promise of chiropractic, principal chiropractic, is I can promise anybody coming in my office that we're going to thoroughly assess them. We're going to check everything that we can, and we're going to see if they have subluxations or not. And if they do have subluxations, then we're going to do whatever it takes to correct those subluxations when they're in the office and to keep them free from subluxation as long as possible. I can promise every single person that comes in my office, because I trust my analysis and my technique, if they come in, we're going to check them. If they're subluxated, we're going to adjust them. When they leave and walk out the door, they are not subluxated. Their body's functioning optimally, regardless of whatever symptoms they may have or whatever. Their body's doing exactly what it needs to do at that point. And our job is done as a chiropractor. But I always want to explain to people the potential of chiropractic, because, we live in a world where we've got pharma, we've got the AMA, we've got all these places. Everybody wants to sell everybody everything, and they want to sell people on the fact that they cannot be healthy, they can't be abundant, and they can't thrive unless they get something from the outside in. Their whole business model is based on that. They spend billions of dollars educating people that they're weak and they're hopeless and helpless, and they can't do anything without that intervention from the outside in. Um, but I always want to teach people the potential of chiropractic is when we do what we can promise you, which is check you for subluxation, correct your subluxation, send you on your way. What happens from there is limitless, and it can vary from person to person. The potential is endless. And when you start to talk to people about those things, then they start to connect their improvements, whatever that improvement may be. If you want to talk about results, they start to connect that improvement to what you did in your chiropractic office. And I'm sure you guys have had people talk to you, and they come in and they're having some type of issue, and nothing has ever helped. They've done everything they can possibly do. They've tried everything. They've been everywhere. They end up in your office as a last resort. They start getting under care, they start getting better from whatever their ailment may be, and then they want to start giving credit to something else. Oh, I flipped my pillow over, or I turned my bed so my head was facing north, or whatever it may be, when they've tried everything under the sun and nothing has helped. And then you start giving them real chiropractic care. You detect and correct subluxations, you send them out the door clear, everything starts to get better, and they have such a small faith in the creation, the miraculous creation of their body, that they can't even give it credit. And so when you really teach them the potential of chiropractic and what chiropractic can do, what their body was created to do when it just works normally, and normal function in the human body is miraculous because we were created miraculously. So I think whenever we take that time, and whatever time that may be, whether you do a group report or individual, I've always done individual because I don't really like to lecture. I like to communicate, and a lot of times my communication will vary just depending on who I'm talking to. I don't want somebody to get glazed over when I'm talking to them, and a lot of times I'll ask questions, and it kind of guides it a little bit differently. But when you communicate the potential of chiropractic, and you communicate how chiropractic works through the assessment, the adjustment, subluxation, life flowing back through their body, getting to where it needs to go, and then health occurs, life occurs, their body functions the way it should, you see that little light bulb go, and you see that they start to think differently. And then all of a sudden they'll come in and they'll say, hey, you know what, I remember when you told me when I first came in that, when I started getting adjusted, my body's going to change and things might happen. Is it possible that chiropractic can help me with this or help me with that? And, the simple answer is yes, but the more complicated answer, which is where I kind of like to go, is say, chiropractic can help with that, but it's your body that wants to do it. Chiropractic isn't making your IBS go away. Your body's making your IBS go away because it's functioning normally because we removed interference to normal function or whatever the case may be. Um, I know you guys have all seen it. You take care of people for a long enough time, and whatever, if they're just coming in for regular care, they're coming in because they have a problem. And, as much as I want to be principled and just take care of everybody just because they have subluxations, the majority of people that walk in your door, they don't know what a subluxation is. They come in for something else. But when they're under care and you deliver real chiropractic care, you do what our founders established and what all of the research over time has shown, which is not just fixing low back pain. We've had like a million studies for that. We know that works. It's a great side effect of chiropractic, right? But whenever you've taken care of people and you're really clearing them out, you really start to see people get better. You start to see changes within their body, and it's not just physical. You start to see, mental changes and emotional changes. And you have the people that come in and nothing makes them happy. They're crabby, they're grouchy, they hate everybody. They're coming in because they don't know what else to do. They think you're going to rip them off. And the staff, they kind of cringe when the people start coming in initially. And then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 or 10 visits later or whatever it may be, they're a different person. They can't wait to come in. Their life is better. They feel like there's hope in the place because they understand the message that you've given them. Um, so I think that whenever you really discuss those concepts with people and you free them from the propaganda that they've gotten their entire lives, I think that that's what creates a lifetime patient. And we want people to come in forever because they need to get checked for subluxation regularly. End of story. They shouldn't come in forever because they're having their same problems or whatever. But if they have their same problems and they're still getting cleared from subluxation, great, we're doing our job. Um, but you could probably be kind of a crappy chiropractor and you could probably really kind of have crappy business practices. But if you are effectively explaining chiropractic to people, it's so simple and it's so straightforward and it makes so much sense, it's logical to them that they're going to want to be there. And so I think that practice building, if you can communicate those simple concepts to people, and I'm willing to elaborate on that if anybody wants to catch me at DE or whatever. And I don't have all the answers, but if you want me to explain more of how I explain that to people, I'm happy to do that. But when you explain that to people, they want to be in your office. And I have a very open door policy. If people want to be in my office, they're welcome. And if they don't want to be here, then they're welcome to leave, and I'll always welcome them back. But I have seen over time that when I explain things effectively to them, they want to be in my office. And when they want to be in my office and they get taken care of, and they start to get better and they see what chiropractic can do for them, they automatically want their friends and family to be in and be under care as well. So all the years that I've been in practice, I've been pretty much, 90+% referrals. We've been very blessed. And I attribute a lot of that to those four things: tell the story, deliver the goods, charge a reasonable fee, get out of the way and let innate work, let their body do the thing that it needs to do. But I think whenever you can teach those people those principles, I think that that is probably the easiest key to success. And the reason that I kind of shifted my talk, like I said earlier, was when the lady came in from Brian's office, I automatically knew she had already been told all of that. And so when I started to explain things to her about chiropractic, I said, normally at this point, I'm going to sit down and kind of talk through some things and explain stuff to you. But I already know you're wearing the shirt that says subluxations are spooky, right? You know what a subluxation is. You know that your body is not working correctly and things are not communicating because you've been there, you've gotten the story, and you've been to a DE chiropractic office. So over the years, I can definitely say that going to DE, you can hear the same speaker say the same thing 100 different times when they talk, but sometimes it just hits your ear a little bit differently. And I've learned so many little things here and there from people that I never expected to learn certain things from. And it's really kind of molded my communication process in my office and some of my procedures and policies and things like that. As a matter of fact, this DE, I'm planning on talking to as many people as I can about associates because I'm in a struggle of, being overwhelmed with business and trying to bring in an associate, and I need a system that works. So for me, I'm going to reach out to some people because I need some help with some stuff. And I know that the people at DE are always going to help. If you have any questions about anything like that, any questions you have for me about any of this stuff, the people at DE, they want to help you because they love you and they love chiropractic. They love our profession. They want everybody to have top-notch care, and they will go out of their way to help teach you any of those things that they can help you with. And the beauty of, the successful people at DE is that many of them are successful on different levels. They're all successful, but they don't all practice the same way. So you have certain people that are strong in this area and other people that are strong in this area. So even if somebody can't help you, they can guide you to somebody that can really help you out. Um, Back to the 4 points, very briefly touch on those. One of the big things in my office is I'm very analytical. I'm very detailed when it comes to my analysis and my delivery of the adjustment. And when I really started getting into upper cervical care, which I'm a full spine chiropractor, but when I really started getting into upper cervical care about 16 or 17 years ago, I realized that what I learned in school in upper cervical technique classes was extremely important. And that really started to kind of trickle down from upper cervical to full spine approach. And one of my mentors back then in knee chest upper cervical, Andy Roberts, he always talked about being mediocre or being a master. And he was talking about technique and analysis, but that really rolls over into your business practices, your report of findings, your daily education, your table talk, all of that stuff. And anybody that knows me and has been around me very long, I like to train. I'm disciplined. I get up every day. I do the same thing every day. And you know what? You're not going to get the results that you want if you don't put the time into it. If you don't train, you don't come up with a plan, you're not going to be where you want to be. So whether it's technique, analysis, communication, business practices, whatever it may be, you really have to formulate a plan, and you've got to devote your time and energy into that to make sure that you're going to train and get better. Um, otherwise, you're just coming up with ideas and it's never going to come to fruition. So I'm willing to help any of you guys with any of that stuff that you would like. Feel free to reach out to me at any time, either Facebook, or you can get my phone number or talk to me in person at DE. And I think that's really all I wanted to talk about with that, because that really made an impression on me when Brian's patient came in. But a couple of things I was going to talk about before I changed my mind, and I'll go over these. I have a couple of things I would like everybody to do. Um, I know BJ Palmer, he had these thought flashes, right? He'd wake up in the middle of the night and hop on his typewriter and type things out. And I guess that's when, God talked to him, or his innate was flowing and he had all these concepts and all that. For me, it's in the morning. I go work out, I hop in the shower, and it's like I have complete clarity and I can solve all the problems in the world. Amazon sells these little things that are called Aqua Notes, and it's got suction cups that sticks in your shower. It's got a waterproof pencil. For me, that's been a real game changer. And when I came home from the last DE, I went in there, my first shower in there. I take my pencil and I start writing all these things on the notepad. Um, I had goals. And, I always feel like when you're doing great in life, set huge goals. And when you're struggling in life, set small goals. You want to win on your small goals and get better. But when you're rocking it, sometimes, you're pushing for big goals. And even if you don't accomplish those goals, you're still doing way better than what you would have. And so I wrote out some goals after this last DE. I had some things for my practice I wanted to happen, and I don't usually do that. I just show up and kind of let things go, because we've just been very successful with our system of how we do things. But I wrote out some goals, and they were big goals, and I knew it was going to be a challenge to meet them, and I didn't meet them. Here we are. We've got, I have one business day left, and I'm not going to meet my goals, but with working out over the years, one of the things that I've learned is that you get a whole lot stronger when you work to failure than if you just, accomplish your reps every time. So get the Aqua Notes, start writing notes on there. Write goals, write concepts, goals for yourself, goals for your business, whatever it may be, and make yourself stare at those things every morning. Because when it's looking at you in the face and you're not doing it over and over and over again, it's going to start to get to you, and eventually you're gonna break down, you're gonna give in, and you're gonna start accomplishing those things. My daughter Kennedy, she's a ballerina, and she actually got in our shower and she had seen my notes and she wrote out like 3 pages of goals, things she wanted to do and accomplish. And, I'm in there and I'm reading through them and I'm like, man, she's really got some big ambitions. And I think already this year she's accomplished almost all of them. So there's some power in, coming up with these concepts, writing them down, having a look at them and revisiting them regularly. So get some aqua notes, put them in your shower, let your kids draw pictures on them or write your goals on there, or whatever you want to do. But I think that that's something that you can do, that will really kind of help out. And I think it's really good too, like after DE, because you come back and you've got so much on your mind. And if you don't stay on top of it, it will kind of drift away. So write your notes down at DE, come home, write them on your aqua notes, stare at them in the shower when you're in there every day. And that'll be kind of your little boost in the morning. Something else I'm going to start doing, and I thought about this, after this last DE, um, because the talk that I thought I was going to give, I was going to talk about the things in chiropractic that we're not aware of, right? So, when you're really applying chiropractic appropriately, there's a lot of things that go on within the person's body that we're never going to know. And I had a lady come in. She's been coming in for about 15 years, and it's kind of a funny story. She's been a tattoo artist for like 30 years. She came in. She's all grungy, and she's just kind of a wild lady, and she didn't want X-rays done. And I X-rayed pretty much everybody, and I had conversations with her about it, and I told her I'm like, this is part of your care and whatever. And it was at the point where she was not going to be there if I was wanting to take X-rays on her because she didn't want to radiate herself. So I said, all right, fine, just sign this saying I told you I want X-rays on you. You don't want to do it and whatever. Anyway, so fast forward, she's in the other day. I'm adjusting her and I'm like, this is where the nerves come out that can affect your breathing and all that stuff. And she said, well, you remember when I first came in that I had that really bad breathing problem? And I was thinking, no, I don't really remember that, but whatever. She said, yeah, ever since your first adjustment, like I've never had that breathing issue again. And I'm like, wow, like I've been taking care of her for how long? And, we never really had this conversation. She came in, I started working on her and it all went away. Um, but anyway, and then I've had other people with their babies having seizures and stop having seizures, and people with IBS and debilitating migraines, and all these things go away, and sometimes they don't tell you until years down the road. So anyway, um, one of the things I would encourage you to do, because the world needs to know about this stuff, and if we're not putting it out there, then they're not going to know. But get your phone, whether you have the patient with that resolution or whatever it may be, or you just do it on your own, just record a little 30-second video, 15, 20-second whatever video, and just say, hey, I had somebody come in the other day and they told me that they've been coming in for a long time and I never knew this, but this cleared up with them. Those are powerful things that obviously we know people are getting better with back pain and whatever, but all of the things that a lot of people don't know, or the surprises you get in practice where somebody says, oh yeah, ever since I brought my kid in that first time, they've never had ear infections again, or they're not constipated anymore, or whatever the case may be. Um, but make some little videos and put them out there. I think that's good for people to understand that aspect of chiropractic, because everybody understands kind of the mechanistic approach, because that's pretty much what everybody sees in chiropractic. But it's up to us to kind of transmit that principled message and explain to people, hey, this stuff gets better not because chiropractic cures it, but because your body normally wants to be this way. And all we do is remove the interference so that your body can work the way God created and repair itself from the inside out. And that's the potential of chiropractic. So anyway, just a few things that I'd recommend for you guys. And I will be there this weekend and I'm going to be by myself. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, if I can help you in any way, I will serve. I will do whatever I can to help you guys. Um, but I do look forward to seeing everybody this weekend. And I'm kind of sad that my wife can't be there, because I think I've been to almost every DE with her. I think I've had two maybe that she wasn't there with me. But anyway, always reach out to me if you need anything. And I love and appreciate you guys. And it's going to be a great DE this weekend. And the weather's going to be good. I think last time we were in Clearwater, it was good the first day, and then it got kind of crappy the next couple of times. But like I said, find me at DE, and look forward to seeing you guys. And thanks for your time, and thanks for listening to me.
All right, Josh. Great job, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I'm
Look
excited.
forward to seeing you.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you in just a couple of days. Looking forward to seeing everybody else who's on here. Come one, come all. Dynamic Essentials, less than 48 hours away. Whether it's your first time or your 100th time, we're excited to see you. So, thank you so much, Dr. Carmack, for sharing your heart tonight. Thank you to all of our attendees for being on. And let's get fired up. Let's head to Clearwater, and we'll see everybody very soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.